Afternoon. Good to see everyone. Always a good Monday when you come in here after a victory. But prior to diving into maybe a recap of the game or anything, I want to bring your attention to kind of a plan that's been put in place administratively and kind of through the football program for this upcoming week against Maine. Due to the timing of it on September 9th, just it's how close it is to September 11th. From a football standpoint, from an administration, we are going to celebrate all first responders, especially those that are in our local community. Thought it would be a way for us just to recognize them. We will have Officer Dotis, Officer Hawes, and Officer Robinson will do the coin toss. 3 members of Fargo PD. The parents of Jake Walling, have been invited to attend the game as well. And one of the unique things we've tried to do, we have nearly a dozen players on our football team currently that have parents that serve in fire, police, sheriff, EMT, some sort of first responder. And we are in the process right now of trying to collect a hat from all of their organizations. So at some point during the game, you'll probably see either a coach or maybe another quarterback on the sideline wearing one of their hats. And then the last thing we're going to do, traditionally we have the bison on the back of the helmet, and this week we're going to go with Fargo. Just an opportunity for us to continue to celebrate our local area. This is Fargo's team, not only the state of North Dakota and the upper Midwest, but there's a lot of positives. Fargo is it's an easy sell when you talk to recruits. It's been a tremendous home for me the last 10 years. I know our players enjoy every minute of it. Even with the fact that you have an extra month of winter at times. But it's a good place to be, and there's a ton of support and tradition, and our fans make it second to none. It's 101 programs, and so wanted to get that out there before I'll let you guys ask questions about it. But jumping back to Eastern Washington, a lot of positives, definitely some things that we can continue to work on. Some of the positives, +1 in the turnover margin. That's always critical, and then along with that, the 10 change of possessions that we were able to create defensively enabled us to have 34 minutes time of possession. We were able to win the trenches, I felt. We were able to run the ball over almost 8 yards per carry and limit them under 3 yards per carry. Completed 70% of our passes, and then situationally we're 3 for 3 in the red zone, 60% completion, 60% on third down conversions. And so there was a lot of benefits, a lot of positives. Explosive plays, we won that battle, 14-5. We need to continue to eliminate those defensively, but still for us to be able to get some explosive plays in game 1 was exciting. And I know our players are excited about where we're at. All we've done is set the standard. Now each week we got to continue to try to push that standard, find ways to get a little bit better, and that'll be the challenge as the head football coach and our coaching staff. We need to avoid being comfortable, being complacent, and allowing ego to get involved. It's one game, and we need to move on. And hopefully I think we have the right leadership in our locker room that will avoid those temptations. When you look at the number of seniors we have, the quality captains we have right now, but that's something that I'm going to continue to echo to those guys as well. There was things that we got to clean up. We two plays during the course of the game. We only had 10 players on the field. We had a couple of intolerable penalties, false start. We covered up a receiver that took away about almost a 40-yard pass during the course of the game. So it wasn't perfect by any means. And I think we can be better fundamentally, maintaining blocks, getting off blocks, tackling. There's a lot of room for improvement. I'm excited about it. And hopefully you can hear that in my voice. This was a good step, but it wasn't the final step to where we want to be. And that's just the best football team we can be. I'll open it up for questions.
Look back at the game from Saturday. Kind of, what were your thoughts on the guys in the backfield? Tamarick Williams, TK Marshall, Barika. Kind of, what are your thoughts on their performance last week?
Really pleased. I think the one you can't forget Owen Johnson's run. I mean, that might have been one of the highlights of the game. I was right there on the side. I thought he was down about 4 times before he was down. That was a tremendous run. But all 4 of those guys run with a purpose. All of them can be three down backs. They can be in there in protection. Even with their youthfulness or maybe just not as much experience. Barika and Owen have great understanding of what we're doing from a protection standpoint. You know, man, those guys carried the ball high and tight. They ran behind their pads, were physical when they needed to be. They're really excited. I think we're only scratching the surface. We got to find ways to get multiple backs on the field. Again, force teams to have to defend every corner of the field.
This week look as far as the preparation aspect goes? You know, obviously you have film on this year from Maine. It's your first true home game. How different do things look preparing for this game as opposed to, say, a week ago?
Well, it's a little bit. It's a little of the same. Yes, we do have one game, but offensively, it's the first. They've only had one game with this coordinator right now, and so there are some things we got to, chase around a little bit. He was at the University of Nebraska for a couple of years, so trying to kind of look into some things that they might have done there. I think he was there during the 21 season when there was some transitioning in staff. So again, I'm sure they didn't show everything week one, but they played a really good football game. FIU, FBS program, that's on the turnaround a little bit, but they went down to Miami and competed with them for 4 quarters, had an opportunity, had the ball with probably about 6 minutes left and moving, and just ran out of time and ran out of downs, I should say. FIU got a big stop, but they were in the red zone a couple times, came away with nothing. I know there was a turnover in the red zone, missed a field goal. So it's a very good football team. They're going to challenge us with more personnel groupings than what we saw a week ago. So we're going to have to do a really good job of trying to match that with the right personnel defensively as well. And then defensively, probably have shown, kind of who they are a little bit, but I got to believe they'll have something different for the Bison. It seems like everyone does. But I know our players are excited. We talked about it after the game. Get an opportunity to play Maine here at home opener is always exciting.
It's gotten better from 2-9 a year ago.
I think they're more physical. I think they're improved up front, offensive line wise. It looks like they brought in some new pieces. So I anticipate as the season, week 1 to week 2, there's going to be continued improvement. They got a really good boundary corner, big physical kid, 6'3", 210. Linebackers all are mirrored images of one another. On offense, quarterback is young. I think they're 2 tailbacks they have. I'm not going to dive through it. Number 22 and number 46, run hard, get downhill, run through contact. We're going to have to be really, especially in our trunk-to-trunk tackles, we're going to have to be really good. So I just think they continue to improve personnel. You could tell defensively they've probably been in the system now for longer than a year, and that's always a benefit.
A couple days later, what's the review on his conversion to safety?
Still a work in progress. Needs to get on the jugs machine, not drop balls, and missed a couple tackles at different times. So we can definitely clean some things up, but it wasn't a shock that he was all in of being the best player he can be, because that's just what he's been ever since he's walked on campus. But again, you're always, how people practice and the confidence they show at practice is always different than when the lights get turned on and all of a sudden now you're in a NFL stadium, a unique situation to be your first game at a new position. I'll say that he handled it very well, very maturely as he went into the game.
What would you say percentage-wise he was at last year, the best that Cole was at?
Oh, well, he didn't play till about 2 games left in the season, so I'm saying probably 90%. That was one of those injuries that I didn't think we really didn't want to rush him back. And it probably had more to do with he needed to feel like he was ready to be back. I think there was times that the doctors are like, he needs to cut it loose at some point. But again, just like any athlete who comes off a major surgery or injury, there's always a little bit of hesitation, concern. You don't want to come back too early because you don't want this injury to prolong any longer than it has to.
Your secondary play as a whole that we're looking at it for the first time being out there.
Did okay. They did okay. There's some things that we need to continue to improve on. Letting the ball get behind us in cover 2 was frustrating. Again, new players in new spots, new scheme. We just got to continue to make sure we coach with great detail as we navigate this week and put the game plan in.
Anything crop up?
Bumps and bruises, banged up, so we're good right now.
Dom sort of had with the offensive line. Now that you've evaluated or graded, what'd you think?
They play the entire football team and the offensive line included, played really hard. I think there were some things, I made a comment earlier, just maintaining blocks, staying on blocks, staying off the ground. Felt like we were falling off the ground, real top heavy, probably a little bit of first game wanting just to try to, lift people and eject them. But we need to be under control at the same time. So I think it's a good group right now. We have some depth with Hunter Pontius, Isaac Zedeca, Jake Rock. We have some flexibility, having essentially two different centers that are out there at different times. So we've built some kind of internal depth during the course of fall camp. I'm excited what that group is, and I think we'll continue to see that group ascend as the season unfolds.
Effect just a healthy Eli Mostert have on the D-line overall?
Well, I mean, he's a big impact player. I mean, what a huge blocked field goal at that time. And if you go back and watch it, you watch the first PAT, their left guard kind of submarine, tried to take Eli out low and at the ankles. And so what happens the next one? Eli just steps over him and blocks it. I mean, it shows me just how savvy and the football IQ that he has. He's had great energy. He's been a great leader all fall long, and we just got to continue to get that high level of production out of him. It may not show up on the stat line all the time, but he can impact a game numerous ways.
A few big third down catches. Just talk about him just a little bit.
Well, none bigger than the first one. One of the things that we've tried to stress going back to spring is starting fast. We've done a period called Team Takeoff where it's all about getting the first down of a game. And for him to make that catch going across the middle was big time for us, and it kind of got us going again. And got us a fresh set of downs and ultimately led to us, scoring 3 out of the first 4 possessions, which was really good, and something that I think you should get excited about. And the third one, wish you could have it back. I think it was a 4th down stop that we weren't able to convert, or otherwise, who knows? I mean, that would have been really impressive. We could have scored the first 4 possessions. But I'm excited about how we scored on the first 3 and came out and executed really well. I still think there's some things we can continue to do from a protection standpoint, from some reads and things like that during this week that we can continue to push the envelope, though.
Marcus Shepard's first game with you guys and his expectations for week 2?
He's going to continue to get better. I think, getting live reps is the experience you need. You can practice all you want. I've made the comment before, until you're under the lights and in front of a crowd. This week will be a new challenge too, because it'll be the home game now. And as we all know, defensively, there tends to be hopefully some pretty good volume on 3rd down. And for him to experience that and be accustomed to the nonverbal communication will be something we'll have to work on this week. But I know that I talked to him after the game, and I asked him, hey, are you still glad you're a Bison? All I got was a big smile. And so I know his mom and dad were there. They flew in from Michigan. They were very excited about just how this is working out. Coach Walker is the one you need to talk to. Lewis does a tremendous job with all of those guys in that room. And for Coach Walker, it's about more than just football. And so he does a great job with that group.
Someone who kind of emerged as the third corner, obviously, Jaden and Marcus are your starters.
Yep.
Is there a third corner there? Is it kind of?
Well, you saw this weekend, I think you saw Gennaro Okama get in there. I think he played about 12 snaps, most he's ever played. And think about a young man from Woodbury, Minnesota, and the first game he ever gets to play, it's in a facility that's in his hometown. Pretty cool experience. Najee Nelson can help us down the road. I was dressed. We were prepared to play him. Just didn't feel like we needed to. But I anticipate at least the 4-game rule, if not more. The young man that's I should, and again, Jeff, I apologize, a little bit banged up is Jaquise Alexander right now. Keeping our fingers crossed that we're close to getting him back either this week or the following week. But pre-injury, he was the third corner.
Gennaro,
Najee, Reggie King still continue to learn a new position.
Copp's tape in high school, because he played both ways,
Yep.
that really stood out to you and Grant, say this guy can be an impact linebacker soon for us?
All over the field. Played high level played I think the biggest class of football in the state of Missouri, Lindenberg High School. And when you watch his running back, highlights were just as impressive as his defensive one. His ability to start, stop, accelerate, make people miss, run through contact, gave you an inclination that he was going to be a physical player. He's just a football guy. It's exciting to see how he continues to develop, his willingness to be the most prepared or one of the most prepared linebackers out there. We got a good group of kids in that room. Coach Olson does a really nice job with those guys, but Logan continues to just be around the ball, and that's a sign of a good player.
First 4 possessions, I think you had like 280 yards and 3 scored or some crazy thing like that in your first 4. Your next 4 were a little bit, didn't move the ball. You had about 40 yards total.
Right.
Was that execution? Was it something they were doing? Was it something you guys were doing? What was the difference there?
Well, that's one of the things we're going to talk about is we didn't win the middle 8 today. We were great in the last four minutes of the first half, but the first 4 minutes of the second half, we got a big play. We moved the ball. Cole was in at quarterback, and then all of a sudden we have a covered up receiver. All of a sudden now it's XL yardage, and we get behind the sticks, and we kind of get in our own way a little bit. And so those are the things that I think we can do a better job of. Just probably not executing enough. Maybe watching the scoreboard a little bit too much. We need to continue to remind our guys that we're a process-oriented football team. It's not result-driven. We need to do the things that we work on all week, and it's about our how, not the what's.
Speaking of the play that came back, Volt Pentesta was on the field for like 24 snaps, according to PFF. I don't know if that's correct or not, but he was on the field a ton.
Very close.
And so I'm not sure that we outside the program saw that coming, because I don't know if his name came up a lot in fall camp.
I don't know if that was 24 offensive snaps or 24 total, because he was probably on every special team as well. Yep. So, but he does a great job. I mean, he's starting to play a little bit of a hybrid wide receiver / tight end type of position where we can do some of the 11 personnel, even 12 personnel run game and include him in there. He's a physical kid. He loves to block. The fact that he had a catch and probably startled him as much as anybody. But he knows his role, and he does a tremendous job.
The Cole Payton situations, do you guys have a roadmap? Not they're going to share it with us, but is there a roadmap going forward is he going to get a series? Is there going to be a percentage of plays and plays?
What you saw was an indicator of kind of where we're kind of looking at. Needs to be the right time, the right place, the right situation, and that's kind of a conversation on game day with Coach Hedberg, Coach Roll, and myself.
He made he's an explosive runner, and I think we knew that from last year. But he can do some things with his feet.
I mean, not only does he have great speed, but now you're talking about tackling a guy that's probably 225 pounds as well, and so big, strong, physical runner. And that play was executed unbelievably well. Mekhi Collins, redshirt freshman, had a huge block in the boundary corner on that play to get that thing going.
Middle linebackers, Luke and Nick, kind of, platooned as we expected.
Yep.
Were you satisfied? Is that what we're going to continue to see?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it all depends a little bit on. I think this week, because of tempo concerns, we thought maybe platooning them could help us. They're very 6 of this, half a dozen of the other. Luke has done a great job. Played a ton of football for us last year. Got banged up. Nick kind of finished the season. Went into this game knowing that we were going to see a lot of 10-11. Nick provides some more range, has really good speed. I think this week could be slightly different. There might be even instances where you see both guys on the field. We just got to find ways to get our best 11 versus whatever personnel the offense provides.
These big, neutral site openers before, is there a tough reset that has to happen after opening your season in a pro stadium in front of a crowd that size? Kind of how difficult is it to kind of snap back to regular season mode, getting ready to play in the Fargo Dome?
I don't think so. I think our kids know that playing in the Fargo Dome is pretty special in itself. Just the support, the fan base, the volume. Chance for, again, another weekend where families and friends will be here for our players. So I think it's probably easy. It'd be tougher if we were at US Bank and then on the road. I think the fact that we're coming home encourages our guys and we'll get them excited as we talk about home opener 2023.
Now, how was the adjustment of having Jason up in the booth as a defensive coordinator? David was there, you were on the field. How did that go for Saturday?
It was good. Teach their own. We're all different. That's what makes the world rotate, I think. But I couldn't do it. I'd be jumping out the window probably. But, I think for him it probably provides a quieter environment where you can truly think and try to project like, hey, what it looks like 2-3 calls down the road. It only works if you trust the people on the sideline, because he's going to have to communicate with Coach Gager, Coach Olson, and those guys do a tremendous job on the sideline of making adjustments, Coach Walker. And so it worked out really well. And the other guys that were up in the box with him who were spotting personnel, Coach Phelps did a great job of identifying protections and allowing. I thought our D-line had really good pressure all day long, and I thought we forced the quarterback to throw off his back foot a number of times. Thanks, guys. Have a good week.